I'm Jen from Fabulous Paper Emporium. I'm so excited to be here with you today to go through this wonderful waterfall card. Today we'll be using paper from Echo Park's Little Lumberjack. So first I'm going to start by showing you the final project. So here you go. The very front is basically why it's called a waterfall. So we are going to pull this little tab at the bottom, and then you'll see each panel, as you pull it, comes down. And then you can just pull this back up. Oops, little layer is getting a little bit stuck there. And you push that back up, and there goes your waterfall. So in this waterfall card, quite often I've seen them made, and I've made them both ways. You can either make it so that it is just a one card that you don't have anything to open. I have made this one so that it does open, and then you can write whatever you want to have on the inside. If you would like, and if you would prefer, this panel right here, this white panel, could be put right on the back of the card. And that way it's just like a postcard that you can just flip over, and that's where your writing would be. This is the card that I'm going to be going through with you today. But like I said, you can change it up in whatever style you would like. So let's go through some of the measurements that we'll be needing for today's card. So first I'm going to go through the red, which was our base for everything. So the base of the card is cut at 4 1/4 by 11, and we'll be scoring this at 5 1/2. Then we have 4 pieces of 2 by 2. Followed by 1 piece of 1 by 4 1/4. And then we have a piece that is 2 inches by 9. This is actually the waterfall base. So we will be scoring this piece. This piece will be scored at 2 inches, 2 3/4, 3 1/2, and 4 1/4. Next we have our black, and for my purposes, I chose to layer the black on top of the red to create my waterfall panels. If you're wanting to stamp, I would suggest perhaps going with the white as opposed to the black, and this way your colors show no problem. I'll be showing you a little bit later on what I'll be doing with my black. So with these ones, these are cut at 1 3/4 by 1 3/4, and again, you need 4 of them. And then we have 1 piece that is 1 3/4 by 4 5/8. And then for the white pieces, this white piece will layer on top of the black piece. And this piece is cut at 1 1/2 by 4 3/8. And this would either go on the back or on the inside, depending on which method you're using or which style. This is cut at 4 by 5 1/4. And then this last piece, which is the designer paper, I've gone with the plaid. And this piece is cut at 4 by 5 1/4. And lastly, we are going to need a piece of ribbon, something to pull the waterfall mechanism. So I've gone with a fine black sateen. You can go with any color, whichever color works with your color palette that you're using. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to start by layering our pieces. So I'm going to need these and these. So here's what I've decided to do with mine is I cut some smaller pieces. So these would be cut at 1 1/2 by 1 1/2. So if you do have designer paper within your paper collection that you're wanting to use because you're not sure what else, then absolutely, that is certainly a valid option. I've also gone with the stickers that come with this pack. I'll show you some of the stickers. So on my original one, that is what I had done as well. I picked out some of the stickers that I knew were going to fit onto the black cardstock. So I've chosen these ones that I've used already. This is the one that I have already adhered to the black piece. And then what I'm going to do, there's one more sticker on here that I will be using, But because it's black, I feel like it doesn't really stand out a whole lot. And I could have done this with the camp out as well, come to think of it. So what I did was I took a 1.5 inch scallop punch that I had, and I've punched that out. So what I'm going to be doing is layering the sticker on the circle, and then we'll be putting the scallop circle on the black to give it just a little bit more contrast, and this way it kind of stands out a little bit more. So I'm going to start off, grab my glue, we'll get these pieces layered. Today I am using Barely Art. So I've gone between the Barely Art and the Art glitter glue, and both are really excellent. The bonus for those of us who are living in a colder climate come, you know, October, November, December, January, February, it does work better. The Barely Art glitter glue, whoops, almost put that on the wrong piece. The Barely Art glue does not freeze. So for shipping purposes, the Barely glue does make that a possibility during the colder months. For the Art glitter, which is very good on its own, unfortunately, you will not be able to get those or get that shipped out to you in the colder months because of the freezing. And once the glue freezes, it just is not viable anymore for your projects. So here we go. So we're just going to layer these on to our pieces. Both glues, I should note, do dry clear. They are acid free, so using them on your paper projects is not a problem. I found they both adhere well. They do give you a little bit of time to kind of fuss around with your layers to make sure that you are happy with where your placement is. So that's always important. And then we are almost done with these. Whoopsie. See? Easily fixed when you have a little glue leak, or the fact that if it's not quite where you'd like it, there's always room to muck around with it a little bit to get it where you like. Okay, so those are our panels. That's great. I am also going to layer this piece on. We'll get all of our gluing done, and then we can get our scoreboards out, and we will be doing some scoring. Perfect. Set that aside. I generally, if I'm stamping, would stamp before I start layering, and this way, if I make a little mistake, it's not the end of the world. You've got plenty of other stamps that you could, or plenty of other paper that you could just cut another piece and stamp on it without any worry. I'm also going to grab one of my stickers to decorate this bottom piece. And this one is just going to be, again, going with the same theme. A little bit of an arrow, and I'm going to stamp this a little bit later, just to add some interest to the top of that piece. Okay, so those are all done. Like I said, we'll be getting out our scoreboards next so that we can get all the scoring done that we need to get done. We do have quite a bit. Okay, so using my Score Pal, I'm going to grab the base of the card. So this is the one that's cut at 4 1/4 by 11. We're going to lay this on our Score Pal, and then look at for the 5.5 mark, 5.5 inches. We're going to score that nice couple of passes, and there we go. So just move this out of the way so that we can get this edge burnished nicely. I do that with this tool. I also have a bone folder. Whatever you have. I also have this other handy dandy, I guess a scraper, but I've used that before. Get really nice results. So let's grab the next piece that we're going to be scoring is the one that's measuring 2 by 9. We're going to lay that on our score pal. And again, we're going to look for the 2-inch mark. Do a couple of passes. Next, we're going to do 2 3/4. We do a couple of passes. And then we've got 3 1/2. And then the last one is 4 1/4. Perfect. So what you're going to do next is you're just going to fold these. Again, you just want to make sure that everything is lined up properly before you start burnishing. So it should fold right on itself. I'm going to grab my bone folder, get that burnish down. We're going to do this with each of our fold marks. Perfect. Third one, and then the fourth one. And this is really what, as you pull this piece down, this is what flips all the panels. So when we are adhering our panels, we're going to start from the bottom score line. So here's where your long bit is. Here's where your short bit is. We're going to be starting from the bottom, and we're going to be working our way up in adhering the panels that you've created. So whichever one you want to be on the bottom, just choose that one, and that's what we're going to start with. I think I'm going to have the chopping wood and looking good is going to be the one that I am choosing to have on the top. All right. So what we're going to do here, now if you see everything lines up, we're going to butt that right up to the first score line. And then what we're going to do is just put a little bit of glue right at the top. If you happen to have some score tape, you can use both the score tape as well as glue, but you're definitely not wanting to adhere that completely. So you're not gluing the entire panel to the back. It's just the top 1/8, give or take. So you do want to have a little bit of space right there. Perfect. Excellent. And so we're going to do camp out next. And again, we're going to do little line, squiggly line. Get that lined up right to the score line. Whoops. This one. And you do want to make sure also that your panels are in line as well. Make sure that that is nice and secure. Cutting the woods is our next panel. And there we go. Oof, got a lot of excess glue that is coming out. But like I said, it dries clear. I'm not worried about it. Just making sure again that my panels are all lined up on each side, that I'm not veering off to the left or to the right. And then our last panel, which is going to be the top one. And get that adhered to the very top. Awesome. Perfect. Alrighty, so that is all done. See? Easy. So we're going to do that. So the next thing that we are going to be working on is we're going to adhere our designer paper to the base. Make sure that if you are doing an open card, that you have your card in the right direction. Made that mistake a couple of times. So I'm going to flip my card out, And this way there is no mistaking where this piece is going. Somebody once told me there's no mistakes in crafting, just happy accidents. Well, I think that is a quote from Bob Ross. Well, maybe not crafting necessarily, but certainly in painting. My understanding is that there's no mistakes, just happy accidents, where he would put a little tree. Whoops. So you definitely want to make sure that we've got this as centered as possible. There should be a little bit of a border. I believe that would be about a 1/8 of an inch border going all the way around. So that is adhered. You can take your brayer, make sure that is really down there. Excellent. So that is adhered. And then the next thing that we are going to be doing is we're going to be putting this little band that basically is going to secure the waterfall panel, I guess, or the mechanism. So we are going to put this roughly 1/3 of the way up the card. And what you're going to do for this one is you can, oops, I had a little bubble there. You're going to put your glue from edge to edge, a little squiggly down the middle. Again, making sure that we have really good, solid adhering of the piece. I just made a mistake. You are not supposed to put that all the way across. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's go back one step. So for the red piece that goes across, we are only going to be applying glue. I put a little bit of white on the back to ensure that we do not have any issues with our waterfall mechanism. So you're only applying glue to the left side and the right side of the red piece. And we're going to put this down. This way, your waterfall mechanism can easily slide in and out. I do apologize for that. So there are mistakes in crafting. Sometimes not always happy. So there we go. So basically what you're going to do next is we are going to slide our mechanism into just underneath the band, and we are going to align it so that it is straight. You do want it to be, I align the bottom part with the design paper. So my red piece, if I flip this up, my red piece at the bottom is right in line with where the design paper ends. And then we will be pulling that down and adhering. So bear with me just 1 second. Okay, so let's put this panel in. That will fit right in the middle of the very bottom panel that we have. So let's apply our glue. You will this time definitely go all the way around. I promise this is how to do it this time. You know, when you make a mistake and it's like, oh, you noticed right away. All right, perfect. So there, so that is going to slip right under there. Again, we're going to line that up. And then the last thing that we are going to need to do is to ensure that this piece stays and doesn't continue, is we are going to adhere the back side of the bottom panel. So this very bottom panel is we are going to adhere that to this red band, and that keeps everything in alignment. Okay, so to do that, we're going to take some of our glue, apply it to the bottom. And again, I'm just doing really the bottom half. And that way, oops, I didn't mean to pull that out. So we get this all aligned. Again, you can use the score tape in conjunction with the glue, whichever liquid glue you're using. And that does give you strength as well as a little bit of time to make sure that your alignment is all correct. Perfect. I'm going to let that dry for just a minute. And then we're going to do the inside panel. So again, on the inside panel, you can basically do whatever you'd like. You can use some ephemera. You can use stamps. You can basically use whatever you would like. So I think for mine, I am going to go with, I've got a bear. Got this little sticker that says Wild at Heart. I'm going to put that up at the top. And then I'm going to go with the bear at the bottom. You could mount this and then fussy cut. But as far as I see it, they're already stickers. So I'm happy with the way that looks. Let's go all the way around the outside, in the middle, and we will glue that. Again, just a quick check, make sure I'm gluing it the right way. No more mistakes today. Perfect. Excellent. Okay, so that is where I want it to go. Just going to use my brayer really quickly. Make sure we've got good connection all the way around. And now this should be all good in terms of sticking, and we're good. Excellent. So long as you can pull that, we are good to go. There we go. There we go with our waterfall. So the last thing that we are going to need to do is we are going to need to put a bit of a pull so that they know, the person receiving it knows to, you know, pull the bottom. And so that's sometimes with the interactive cards, not so sure. So I'm just going to take, whoops, that's too small. I'm going to take my 1-inch circle punch, and I'm going to just lift the bottom part a little bit. And you see, I just go in ever so slightly. I guess that would be maybe a 1/2 inch, give or take. Not quite half, a third, somewhere like that. You're going to press that down, and this way the string or the ribbon, whatever you decide to use, will be at the bottom, and away we go. So my ribbon piece, what I decided to do on my original card, if I bring that back out, is I just used a small punch to punch a hole. You could use a stapler. I'm just not a fan of how the stapler looks, but I know they have some colored staples, so if that's what you have, by all means, that works really well. So I'm going to grab my little handy dandy punch. You can see that I've been using it. And then we're just going to punch a hole right in the middle, right about there. We are going through a few layers, so it does pose a bit of a challenge sometimes. And then we are going to go through. I'm just looping the ribbon so that we can go through the hole. If you have, I know mine is really, really tiny. I know I used to have one that was a little bit bigger, and I certainly would have gone with that. But I just pull the loop through, and then the 2 tail ends. I know this is more ribbon than you need, but fussing around with it when it's longer, certainly for my fingers, works a lot better. So we are just gonna do this. Make sure my both tails are in, and then we just give that a a little tug, and we are good to go. I am going to clip this off right about here. Excellent. And there we have it. We have our waterfall card, our wonderful waterfall card. So there we go. We just pull it, and then you could have a little message there, your secret message, but you also have space inside here to put whatever it is that you want. And like I said, if you choose to go with a smaller card, then you would only need to go with a card that is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. But personally, this is probably my favorite. So that is it. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. I know I certainly did, even with the little hiccups. It's all good. So I hope you can join me again next time for a video. Please don't hesitate to ask any questions, comments. They're always welcome. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss my next video. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye.